Welcome back on this Friday. Glad that you're joining me again as we continue to look at Paul and his discussion of spiritual gifts. Spiritual gifts and love are closely connected, right? Because these spiritual gifts are to be outward focused. This connects back to chapter 12 after what seems to be a little hiatus into 13, but really 13 is showing us, remember, that those gifts that we use are nothing without love behind them. Chapter 12 foreshadowed at the very end a couple things that he would talk about more, and we see them here. Let's start with verses 1 through 5. Pursue love and earnestly desire the spiritual gifts, especially that you may prophesy. For one who speaks in a tongue speaks not to men, but to God. For no one understands him, but he utters the mysteries in the Spirit. On the other hand, the one who prophesies speaks to the people for their upbuilding and encouragement and consolation. The one who speaks in tongues builds up himself, but the one who prophesies builds up the church. Now I want you all to speak in tongues, but even more to prophesy. The one who prophesies is greater than the one who speaks in tongues, unless someone interprets, so that the church may be built up. Speaking in tongues is one of those things that is questioned in a lot of church bodies, including in mine. Here's my thoughts on the whole idea of speaking in tongues. First of all, it was in use in the early church, as shown here, and in other places as well. However, I don't believe it's as useful now because it was speaking to God in those revelation moments, but we now have God's word that he has given to us. So I don't believe that tongues are as useful as they were then. And third, I believe that they are misused in many churches because speaking in tongues, as he mentioned here, are to build people up, or the purpose of these gifts are to build people up, build up the church. But this one, speaking in tongues, really only builds up the person, not the whole. It is considered a lesser gift because it builds up only self. These gifts are for the whole. This gift is only good if someone interprets. So the interpreting is really the greater gift. So let's move on now to verses 6 through 12. Now, brothers, if I come to you speaking in tongues, how will I benefit you unless I bring some revelation or knowledge or prophecy or teaching? If even lifeless instruments such as the flute or the harp do not give distinct notes, how will anyone know what is played? And if the bugle gives an indistinct sound, who will get ready for battle? So with yourself, if with your tongue you utter speech that is not intelligible, how will anyone know what is said? For you will be speaking into the air. There are doubtless many other languages in the world, and none is without meaning. But if I do not know the meaning of the language, I will be a foreigner to the speaker, and the speaker a foreigner to me. So with yourselves, since you are eager for the manifestation of the Spirit, strive to excel in building up the church. He gives examples here, right? Of Paul, if Paul came speaking in tongues, what good would they receive from it? Or the lifeless instrument. How do you know it's a flute if it's not playing that beautiful note, or a harp? If they're lifeless, not being used, how good can they be? Or a foreign language. It's useless unless it's one that I know. Otherwise, I can't communicate with someone who speaks in a different language. So it is with spiritual gifts. They are useless to the whole. And he encourages again in verse 12 to use the gifts, to focus on the gifts that build up the whole, the gifts that build up the church, and not on this one that some might think is a greater gift, but according to Paul is a lesser gift. I would rather you focus not on speaking in tongues, but to reading God's word as he speaks to you through that which we know is right, which we know is true. We'll see you again on Monday, or hopefully I'll be able to see you in church on this weekend. God bless.